Hey everyone, welcome back to Apollo Art Analysis. In today's episode, we're going to be studying a piece by the multidisciplinary artist known as Voja. And in this episode, we're going to be looking at this visceral red here. We're also going to explore symbolism of large cats. So let's jump right into it. So whenever you first see this work, we're met face to face with a terrifying beast. There is no doubt about that. One of the first things you're likely to notice is this immense and vivid light within the composition here. Whenever you first see this work, you'll likely feel this sense of shock before turning to kind of curious awe as we wonder what exactly is going on here. And so within the composition, we note two main regions here, of course. That is the darker region above and the much lighter region taking up the majority below, of course, both of which are incredibly important to the composition here. Another thing you may notice is the impact of texture here, of course. You have all of these blooming flowers here and various plants. This gives us a stunning sense of texture and, of course, immerses us within the scene quite masterfully. I think that's incredibly important here. Another thing you may point to is the impact of color within this composition. Of course, we see the main colors is kind of this almost like a hot pink, if you will. Of course, that pinkish purple and that sense of that red as well. Both of those really combine to give this incredibly intense composition. There is no doubt about that. But regardless of that, you see a diverse range of tones, right? We see everything from purple to blue to that hot pink, that green, and that red as well. So that kind of gives a sense of visual energy and, of course, invigorates the spatial composition alongside the impact of such vivid and intense light here. And on that note, of course, an immense vibrance is one of the most definitive elements of this display here. It just invigorates and it possesses this piece and, of course, gives a stunning sense of visual energy to the viewer's visual experience. I think that is incredibly important here. And, of course, within this work, we see multiple variants contributing to that sense of visual energy. We see it everywhere from intensity of light, the diverse range of color, and the sense of texture here, of course, all of which invigorate the spatial composition and gets the heart racing. I think there is no doubt about that. And aside from that as well, we have this kind of slight blur within the composition. You can see this most evidently on the form of our lone subject there. This kind of gives a sense of implied motion, which of course makes us feel as if we're standing here or as if it's moving right before our eyes here. There's a really unique illusion created by that. And of course, alongside everything we just mentioned, gives even more energy to the composition. So it's just absolutely stunning. And so I believe our subject here is a jaguar. It is certainly a big cat of some kind or another. And along our subject's form, we have this, of course, a visceral kind of blood red that makes us, gets the heart racing. And of course, it is a definitive element of this display. I truly believe that. You see this, it kind of drapes off and even goes down. It's reminiscent of kind of raw muscle. It almost looks as if the jaguar is kind of, bathed in blood, if you will, but it certainly gives a striking aesthetic to the piece at hand here. And of course, the nature of big cats, the symbolism, for thousands of years now, for millennia, big cats have been used as a symbol of everything from strength to intelligence and even grace as well. And within this work, we feel that sense of strength or that sense of danger, right? There is this, like I said, that blood red. It just feels fatal in its final impression. I think there is no doubt about that here. And of course, if we're standing this close to this jaguar, it is likely already too late. Imagine just how that would be. You see the fangs of the jaguar just staring directly at us. It is just terrifying in every sense of the word, right? So with that in mind, what do y'all see when you view this piece, or how do you feel, or even what would you do if you were this close to this terrifying lone subject? I think that's a pretty definitive and interesting question to the work at hand here. And so, due to the nature of this kind of glitched aesthetic, or this blur here, one may cite the glitch art aesthetic. And so the glitch art aesthetic, of course, takes things like glitches and malfunctions and use them within a creative context. I think we see a bit of that. If the artist isn't explicitly trying to create that, we see at least a slight influence of the glitch art aesthetic within the work before us here. So it's absolutely stunning. And I actually have another piece from the original artist. I'm going to bring those in, see what we can learn compared to this original work. All right, so I brought in another work from Voja. What you'll notice is this, symbolism of the big cats across the entire portfolio. So within the work before us here, of course, this is visceral. It is a blood red. It is terrifying. So much visual energy. Then we compare that to here. This is a lot more luxurious. It is much more ornate. But within both instances, of course, you see the symbolism of the big cat, and you even have that kind of visceral blood red, which gives this striking sense of visual energy in both of these works here. And so I'm actually studying this work today. It's going to be pretty interesting. I like that near symmetry. I like the symbolism of the kind of yin and yang, whether fighting or playing, it's hard to say for sure. But regardless of that, it is an incredibly ornate and a luxurious piece, especially compared to such a visceral and terrifying composition as this. I always love to bring in some additional works from that artist portfolio. So yeah, I really hope y'all enjoyed today. So this is, kind of a mixed media piece. Of course, we have the photograph of the Jaguar, and then there's additional edits in Adobe Photoshop, giving that sense of that visceral and vibrant color here. And then aside from that, of course, giving that slight sense of that motion blur there. So you see, of course, you can take the photograph and then edit it in so many different ways to create an incredibly unique composition. And it was just a pleasure to study this. Really hope y'all enjoyed today. If y'all enjoyed today's episode, go check out the original artist Voja, doing some amazing work in the world of kind of, glitch edits and edits more broadly. There is no doubt they pay very close attention to the works that they create. So yeah, like I said, really hope y'all enjoyed today. We talked about so many different things, from the symbolism of large cats to this kind of visceral red, the impact of visual energy, the impact of implied motion through this color blur. So many different things we hit on today. I truly hope y'all enjoyed. Like I said, if y'all enjoyed today's episode, go check out the original artist. My name is Apollo. This was Apollo Art Analysis, and I'll see y'all on the next episode. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you'd like to support our work directly, please check out our Apollo community tokens. Apollo Art Exchange is an ecosystem of art appreciation which elevates artists each and every day. Thanks for listening.